negative.
You gotta be in shape when you croak.
If you're not, you're just being a bloke. What will the neighbors say when you kneel down to pray? Was it really so important that you smoke? You gotta be in shape when you get to heaven, or you won't fit through them pearly gates. HealthWorks can make that happen. HealthWorks before it's too late. HealthWorks can make that happen. HealthWorks before it's too late.
Hello and welcome to HealthWorks TV. I'm Crystal Shoji and I'm the mayor of Coos Bay and I'm going to be your host. And this is the first show in a series that we are doing on disaster preparedness. So the programming today is made possible through the generosity of the following sponsors: Bay Area Hospital, Southern Coos Hospital, Coquille Valley Hospital, Waterfall Clinic. Thank you very much for your support on these segments. HWTV is a nonprofit that produces evidence-based multimedia programming on local TV and the internet, focusing on community health topics and on topics related to safety and well-being. Such is the series on disaster preparedness. Most of the programs involve the use of humorous, comedic sketches written and performed by local actors, so this will be a treat. Now I'd like to introduce the guests for today. On my right is Sheila Sund, physician from Salem, Oregon. She has a disaster fixation. Her specialties include neurology and hospice, and she's now focused primarily on emergency preparedness, especially the healthcare responses. Jim Hosley is the Director of Public Works for the City of Coos Bay. On my left side is Connie Bunnell, and she is a volunteer for emergency preparedness. She's doing the Map Your Neighborhood program. And here is Glenda Hales, and she is Emergency Management Manager for Coos County. Thank you all for being here, and this should be fun, and welcome to everyone. Starting with Glenda, she's going to give us an overview of the subject and why this is important to us in Coos County.
Okay, thank you, Crystal. Coos County is subject to a Cascadia subduction zone, which will most likely impact about 600 miles of coastline all the way from Northern California to southern British Columbia. The fault has been stressing and building up for years, and as the Juan de Fuca plate and the North American plate push against each other, when they rip apart, they're going to create the largest earthquakes and tsunamis on Earth. Where they meet is called the subduction zone. There may be a drop in the land by approximately 6 to 8 feet, depending on the soil types. A Cascadia subduction zone last happened January 26, 1700, and was estimated to be a magnitude 9. Damages from that earthquake may be reaching as far as the I-5 corridor. Tsunami will hit the coastline, directly affecting the cities of Bandon, Coos Bay, Charleston, North Bend, and indirectly Coquille and Myrtle Point, and Lakeside. The tsunami will arrive approximately 10 minutes at the most recent to up to 30 minutes. Transportation, of course, we know we're going to have buckling of roadways and 234 bridges within Coos County. Those will be damaged to some degree or another. Our communications also will be damaged, most likely not any telephone communication as we know it today. Our public works, water and sewer will be damaged as well. There won't be water for flushing toilets. There won't be sanitation devices available. There'll be fires caused by gas lines, propane devices, those type of things. Our emergency services won't be able to travel throughout the community as they do today based on the damages from the roads. Mass care, homes and businesses will be affected to the degree that those in the tsunami inundation zone won't any longer be in existence, we'll have to consider the capability of moving people, mass care, damage to homes and businesses, critical facilities such as fire stations, police stations. All this will have to be considered. Logistics and resources, our grocery stores, 3 of which are in the tsunami inundation zone. Health and medical expectations from traffic accidents and those inside buildings where things have fallen on them. Of course, people will need to be searched for that are caught in downed buildings. We'll have hazmat type incidents with pollution and energy. Fueling won't be available. Public safety and security, law enforcement, limited resource capabilities. And of course, long-term recovery. We're looking at years to come before we'll see the community we see today. Public affairs, getting information to the public will be very, very difficult. It'll be something we'll have to work toward now as we continue our preparation.
Well, this is a lot to think about. So we're going to have some good topics for our future shows and for the rest of this one. So we'll take a short break at this time.
We need your help. Please join our monthly advisory board meetings to provide input on show content and programming. Please call Christy Kelty for further information. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Crystal Shoji, and we're back with our segment on disaster preparedness. Now I would like to introduce Dr. Sheila Sund, who is visiting here from Salem, Oregon. She's also known as the Disaster Doc. And she has an informative blog site where articles are posted regularly pertaining to disaster preparedness. So welcome, Dr. Sund.
Thank you. I want to start off by telling you that 3 years ago, I knew as much or as little as any of you. One day, I simply asked what I would do as a physician volunteer in a disaster, only to find that nobody could tell me. My fellow doctors equally clueless, and in fact, most of them said they would just stay home. Can you imagine a disaster when doctors don't even show up? So I decided to educate myself and my fellow medical community by writing an article once a month for our newsletter. That grew, and now I write a blog 3 times a week and serve on I don't know how many committees. I guess I'd call myself a disaster medicine specialist. I've learned a lot over the last 3 years. Most people learn about disasters from the media, not exactly the most reliable source. So we've developed a lot of disaster myths along the way. The most important myth is that we somehow or another believe someone on a big white horse is going to ride in and rescue us when the disaster happens. Well, sorry, it's not going to be that way. When Cascadia hits, the emergency medical responders will be completely overwhelmed, providing they can even get their equipment out on the damaged roads and bridges. The only people that are going to save you are your neighbors. That might be your neighbors in your neighborhood where you live or your neighbors at work. But if you're trapped, it's going to be your neighbor that rescues you. Even more importantly, if the kids are home alone because you're out on date night, you're not getting home anytime soon, and it will be your neighbors that have to take care of your children for you. So if I could tell you one thing, it's to get to know your neighbors now and start planning with them, because they're the only white horse you're going to have. So another disaster myth is that in a few days later, and the community starts to kind of wake up from this, FEMA's going to come from somewhere and descend and take over everything for you. That's not the way it works. Every disaster is a local disaster. That's a mantra that we have in planning. What that means is that your local city and county officials are the ones that have to take charge. They can ask for certain assistance from your state, like the National Guard or road crews. They could, the state could even ask for help from the federal government, like FEMA. But FEMA doesn't come in and take over. It still is your local government. So we all hear about FEMA, we all blame FEMA when things go wrong, but it's not really their responsibility. For example, your local government might ask FEMA to help with water supplies, but it's the government's decision how much water and how to distribute it. So the bottom line is, if everything goes well in recovering from your disaster, thank your local officials. If it goes badly, Blame FEMA, everybody else does. So another disaster myth is how much you need to do to prepare. A lot of people think, okay, I've got food and water for 3 days, I'm all set. It's not that supplies aren't good. I think they're really important. 3 days though, not much. Weeks, months, that's even better. But don't stop with supplies. There's a lot of other things, like a flashlight. Can you imagine not having a flashlight and shoes by your bed? After an earthquake, everything in your kitchen is smashed together on the floor. Do you want to walk across that in bare feet in the dark? So simple things like that matter. Knowing how to turn your gas off, figuring it out at the time of an earthquake's not a good idea. The reality is that emergency preparedness is an ongoing process. It's not a weekend shopping trip. People say they can't prepare because they don't have money. Well, it doesn't really cost that much. If you buy 1 or 2 extra cans of food every grocery trip, that'll add up quickly. Your water can simply be tap water that you save in old soda bottles. You can put brackets on your walls to hold up your furniture cheaply from the hardware store. The thing it costs is time. It takes time to learn, it takes time to plan, it takes time to organize your stuff, to get to know your neighbors, maybe to train to be a volunteer so you can help more. So not money, time. Make it a priority in your life. And then the last myth I'm going to talk about after hearing how bad Cascadia can be is that you don't need to prepare because we're all going to die anyways. Well, if you choose to stay on the beach or if you're in a concrete building, that might be the case, but the reality is most of us are going to survive. And the question is, what's it going to be like when you survive? Are you going to spend weeks and months crowded together miserably in a shelter? Or will you have planned a way to continue living? Maybe not in the same comfy lifestyle now, but really not all that different from what it would be like several generations ago. Somehow or another, they managed to survive without cell phones. So we can do it if you prepare. And your community will need you. The only way they're going to rebuild is if you help. So if you want to keep living in Coos Bay, and it's a nice place to be, you better prepare now to help yourselves and to help your community. I hope you do it, because I really want to come back and visit here again sometime.
Thank you for talking with us about personal responsibility and the community role. We will take a short break now and be back soon.
To visit Dr. Sheila Sun's website, go to www.disasterdoc.net.
Welcome back to the show on disaster preparedness. I'm Crystal Shoji, the mayor of Coos Bay. Now I'm introducing Jim Hosley, who is the Public Works Director at the City of Coos Bay, and he's going to speak a little about the impacts on bridges, roads, etc.
Thank you, Mayor Shoji. Yes, my staff and I have thought about this quite a bit, and along with other people here at the city. What is the city going to be like after a big Category 9 or on the Richter scale earthquake? And the first thing we think about is transportation. How are we going to get here, especially if we're not at work? And our job is to come in and try to get things back up in an operation. Because we're surrounded by water here in Coos Bay, and many of the communities around here have water, either rivers, if not the ocean, affecting their geography. And these bridges that Glenda had talked about will most likely fail, or at least be unpassable. And so we have to think about that, and you have to realize that you're not going to be able to travel. The roads, maybe in your neighborhood, will experience damage from buckling. There could be landslides that either make the roads disappear or be buried. You got to think about trees blocking your routes. There will be utility poles and power poles that will fall and block your route of travel. There could be inundation. If we have a big tsunami come in, those roads that are next to the rivers and or ocean will be inundated. If, as Glenda says, we see the subsidence of the land of up to 8 feet, you have to think about that too. And then what now isn't affected by tides will be affected by tides on a regular basis. So that's something you all need to take into account. Where will you be, and then how are you going to get around? And you're not going to be able to, other than maybe by foot for a short time. And then eventually, after the subsidence of the tsunami, which is going to be rolling around for maybe several days, depending on aftershocks, etc., maybe we'll be able to get into boats. But the other thing is like Glenda said, this could affect clear to the I-5 corridor. And so that means we won't be able to get things into our coastal communities from the interior of the state. We also have to think about, well, what about our airport? Well, it's near sea level here in the Coos Bay North Bend area, so that may be inundated by the tsunami or severely damaged by the earthquake. And then we have port facilities. Again, those may be damaged as well. So things to think about. Utilities. We have power lines that are above ground, and those will probably be damaged as they collapse. We have other transmission facilities that will likely be damaged, so you won't have power. Communications will be disrupted as cell towers will collapse. We may have those telephone lines that are on poles will also collapse. And then power that's underground or communication lines that are underground will also be damaged. Our wastewater transmission lines and our water transmission lines are all underground, and those will likely suffer damage because of the earth movements. And they may even cause some flooding of water and wastewater on the streets and what remains of the streets. Also, our treatment plants are in low areas, so they'll likely suffer inundation and be damaged by the shaking, and they will most likely lose power. Even though they have generator backup, they won't likely continue to operate correctly. And then again, our communication systems will all be down, and our ability to communicate with one another and amongst our repair crews will be hampered. And with that, Crystal, I'll hand it back to you.
Well, you're telling me you're done, and it sounds to me like Public Works is where it's going to be at. So at this time, we're going to take a break and look at a comedy sketch by HealthWorks TV comedy troupe for a peek into what maybe really happens during an emergency.
This is HealthWTV, and we are bringing you this live emergency broadcast in response to the disaster we are experiencing. I am Jeff Davis, your news director here, and we hope this show will help alleviate any questions that may arise. We're going to cut over now to Jed Henry, our correspondent in the field. Jed, can you describe the situation there?
Hello, Jeff. We're here on the corner of 1st and Main, and everything seems fine.
Well, you look a bit wet. I know the emergency has brought out the disaster workers and more will be arriving soon. Can you describe the scene there?
Well, we seem to be experiencing, right, what was that? We seem to be experiencing...
we seem to have lost our video feed, so we are experiencing flooding in these areas.
What the hell?
Jed, we can still hear you. We've lost our video feed, but maybe you could describe the situation there.
Oh, well, I would like to, but it is pitch black.
911, what is your emergency? No, ma'am. Yes, ma'am, you can go out in curlers. No, the slippers do not have to match. This is an emergency line. Yes, blue. Blue is fine. Blue is fine. No, I do not know whether the blue matches your eyes. "911, what is your emergency?" No, ma'am. Yes, ma'am, the liquor laws are in effect. No, ma'am, that would be an open container. Well, put it in the trunk. What? It's too late? Ma'am? Ma'am? 911, what is your emergency? Uh-huh. 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 Yes, sir. Water, canned food, and a first aid kit. Yes, there will be an evacuation.
This is a mandatory evacuation. Please open the door.
This is a mandatory evacuation. Please open up.
And we're back. We've been trying to stay in contact with our correspondent in the field. Jed? Jed, can you hear me? Jed?
Yeah, I can hear you. What?
We are here with Jed Henry in the field.
This is not a field. It's now, ouch! It is now a river. I will have to get back to you.
Jed, are you there? We're back. This area seems to be flooding.
Ouch!
With floating debris. Jed?
911, what is your emergency? What is your emergency? Hello? What is your emergency? Hello?
This is a mandatory evacuation. Please open up. This is a mandatory evacuation, ma'am. Please open the door. Ma'am, we need to leave now. Please?
This is a mandatory evacuation. Please open the door.
Yes, officer. No, I'm all ready to go. I've been listening to the emergency on my scanner. I just need to go in there and get the rest of my go pack, my guns, my ammo, my face paint, and 2 Republicans. I'll be right back.
Well, hello.
Well, hello, ma'am. This area is being evacuated. Your husband went back to get some supplies. Are you ready to evacuate?
Oh, him. He's just my husband by marriage. Won't you come in? You know you want to.
Ma'am, this is a mandatory evacuation.
Ooh, I love a man in uniform. Do you like my robe?
Well, ma'am, this area must be evacuated. We must leave now.
What's your name? Can I touch your helmet?
Ma'am, once again, this is a man. Well, yes, but just the rim.
Such nice, cool still. Now you're gonna have to do me a favor and hold this.
Bill. My name's Bill.
And we're back in the newsroom. The emergency seems to have engulfed this area here. We seem to be experiencing power outages in the outlying areas. We now have an update from our correspondent in the streets. Jed? Jed is on the corner of 1st and Main Street. Jed?
This is a mandatory evacuation. Please open up. This is a mandatory evacuation. Please open up. this is a mandatory evacuation. Please open the door.
Aren't you a little old for this?
No, sir, this is a mandatory evacuation. Please open the door.
You can't fool me. You were just here. Dang, young people.
No, sir, this is an evacuation.
You again? I already gave you candy.
No, sir, evacuation.
Oh, you say it's your graduation? Well, congratulations. Kind of a late bloomer, aren't you?
No, evacuation. E-V-A-C-U-A-T-I-O-N.
I can see why you graduated. You're a good S-P-E-L-L-E-R. And why are you yelling?
Sir, do you know where your closest emergency shelter location is?
Oh, my closet's in the hall. Of course I know where my closet is. Is this some reality TV show?
No, sir, you must evacuate.
Oh, I have a woman that comes in every Tuesday to vacuum. Where's the camera? Do I win anything?
No, sir, no. Yeah, you win something. Sure, you win a free night out on the town. Let's go.
Oh, there's the camera.
Jed? Jed, we seem to have lost our feed. We are experiencing flooding and rain in this area and, well, weather in general. Oh, wait, I've just been informed we have Jed on the line now. Jed, can you inform us of the conditions out there?
Yes, Jeff, it's still a nightmare out here.
Well, hello.
Jed? Jed, are you still there? Jed? We seem to have lost our feed. We seem to be experiencing power outages in this area. We seem to be experiencing power outage in this area. Can I get an umbrella?
Okay, it's not my job.
Nah, I can't work like this. I mean, I used to work in a real studio. I mean, we had people. We had a guy just to bring us coffee, lattes. I mean, we had craft services. They had croissants, maple bars. I had a makeup artist. Oh, God, I love those maple bars. No, look, I had my own chair, not this crap furniture like this here. I can't do this anymore. I used to get paid.
This is a mandatory evacuation.
Oh, hello. I thought you were the cab that we called.
No, ma'am, I'm not the cab. I am...
Can you take these? We heard the man on television. He told us to take all of our emergency supplies. Here, can you handle that too? Carry it
but
like
ma'am, I'm...
Come on, Ray. Don't drop that, Ray.
Yes, dear.
I'm not...
Yes, dear.
All right, come on, everybody. Let's go.
Let's just go. It's easier.
All right, wait a minute. Ray, do you know where my lipstick is? Wait, oh my God, where's my lipstick? Wait, I've got it right here. Wait. Hold on 1 second. How's that look, Ray? Good? Okay. How's my hair, Ray? I don't want to go to the shelter looking bad. Okay, let's go.
911, what is your emergency? Calm down, sir. What is your location? We have a mandatory evacuation in that area. Sir? Sir? No, no, sir, we cannot send a car for you. Yes, sir? Sir? Your closest shelter is located at the corner of 1st and Main. Calm down. I know there has been flooding in that area. If you'll just tune in to your local news programs. Sir? I do not know if they have maple bars.
I don't like your breath when you drink.
We need your help. Please join our monthly advisory board meetings to provide input on show content and programming. Please call Christy Kelty for further information. Thank you.
Welcome back to our show. I'm Crystal Shoji, and this is HealthWorks TV. This is our first show in a series on disaster preparedness. And now I would like to introduce Connie Bunnell with the Map Your Neighborhood program.
Thank you, Crystal. The Map Your Neighborhood program prepares neighborhoods to survive emergencies and disaster situations, saving lives and reducing property damage. By teaching neighbors to rely on each other during the hours or days before fire, medical, police, or utility responders may be able to reach them. The program is designed around what emergency responders call the golden hour, when those who are injured or severely traumatized need help right away to survive. This is when the pre-planning, which is done at the once-a-year 90-minute meetings in neighborhoods, will really pay off. In the Map Your Neighborhood program, the neighbors decide whose home to have the 90-minute meeting at, and possibly another neighbor would serve as a facilitator. The meetings are in homes. It's recommended that we meet in homes as opposed to a restaurant or a business. They're much more productive. At this meeting, they will be guided by either a Map Your Neighborhood discussion guide or by the DVD, which is produced by Dr. Luann Johnson of the Washington Emergency Management Public Education Department. So Luann helps lead your meeting. She will have you play and then pause to conduct some of the things that you want to accomplish during your meeting. At one of these meetings, first the neighbors will identify the skills and equipment that each neighbor has that would be useful in a disaster to help a more timely response. Time is so important, especially during that golden hour that we mentioned. Next, they will create a neighborhood map identifying the exit routes out of the neighborhood, the location of natural gas and propane tanks for quick response if needed. The number of houses of a neighborhood will vary. They will vary from 10 houses to possibly 20, because again, we want to keep in mind how much can we do within that first golden hour. The program also works for apartments and for condominiums, and in the country for ranches as well, just fewer homes. Then the neighbors will create a contact list that helps identify those with specific needs, such as the elderly, the children who might be at home alone, from school or prior to a disaster find themselves alone, the people who are disabled, or those who need to be checked on, those who are just living alone and need to be checked on. And so these will be marked on their neighborhood map, so everyone will know in advance where they live. Also, those who attend the meeting will learn about the 6 things that should be done at home first, where you care for your loved ones, and then you go out into your community to help. The first 6 are done at home. The last 3 are steps taken out in the community. What will the teams do? Well, the teams will go into the community and they will check on those they have pre-identified as needing help, And some will actually go out with their chainsaws and they're going to recut, tree limbs and remove debris and try to open up the roads. Some will definitely go out and check on the propane tanks and do the turning off, the shutting off, because one of the most common disasters following an earthquake are fires. And so if we can all help to eliminate or cut down on this to save lives and property, it's a good thing. So some teams will stay with the children and those who are injured at the neighborhood care center, which has also been pre-identified. And some will just sit by the radio and listen for the emergency messages from Glenda Hales, our emergency manager. Some will also look out for the team members, make sure that they're getting enough water and food and that they're not just exhausting themselves. So there's something for everyone to do. You might be wondering, how can we get started with Map Your Neighborhood? Well, the Coos County Emergency Management Office has made the program materials available at local libraries. So you can go to the library and you can check out the DVD, look over the resource materials, get an idea, and then set a date for your meeting. And if you still are a little apprehensive of holding a meeting, please give me a call at 267-3216, and I would be glad to come and help you with that meeting. Today, I have brought a few items that are in our Map Your Neighborhood kit that we just wanted to show you. First of all is a helmet. It's a good idea if you have any kind of a helmet, if it's a bicycle helmet or a horse riding helmet or just a helmet from the local hardware store would be great. To have this helmet and also a pair of gloves, and you want a good sturdy pair of work gloves because you might be lifting some pretty heavy items, rocks and limbs, etc. And a flashlight, just a small flashlight, not one of those great big heavy, flashlights, because weight is something you want to think about. And then so you'll have this kit and your good sturdy shoes right under your bed. And you will also have, if you attend the meeting, one of the Map Your Neighborhood flip charts, which when rational thought goes out the window and we can't think, we just follow the flip chart that tells us what to do in 9 easy steps.
Well, this is all about being connected,
Yes.
I think. So thank you. At this time, we will take another short break.
For more information on Map Your Neighborhood disaster preparedness, go to cope-preparedness.org/map-your-neighborhood-myn.
Welcome back to our series on disaster preparedness. Right now is a good time to talk about some of the programs and how people might get involved. So would you like to start?
Yeah, we can talk a little bit about the programs that Coos County does
That'd be
have
great.
right now. Under the Citizen Corps, the umbrella of Citizen Corps, we have individual volunteer groups such as CERT. And I think Connie can talk a little bit about what CERT does.
Yes. Starting with the event in September 11th, that just really woke a lot of people up, and they wanted to know, what can we do to help? We wanted to do something. And that's when the Citizen Corps was formed, and Citizen Corps was the umbrella organization for all of these other different volunteer opportunities. And one of those volunteer opportunities under Citizen Corps is CERT, or Community Emergency Response Teams. So we began training in Coos County, but we needed to change our name because it had a little conflict with the term CERT. So our local emergency response teams are called ALERT, Auxiliary Local Emergency Response Teams. Now these teams come about by committing to 22 hours of training. And the training consists of disaster preparedness, Medical 1, which is like a basic first aid training, Medical 2, then we get on more into triage and more complex training, but it's disaster medical operations. It's different than what you would expect in your first aid class. We also have fire safety training, how to put out fire safely, working in the buddy system. We have search and rescue operations and how to do that safely. And they learn to do cribbing, things like that. We have one of the classes is psychology of disaster, which is very important information if you are going to be out there helping people who have just been through a disaster. So we model our program after the design that was designed from the Los Angeles Fire Department, where they took everything they knew and all information from the American Red Cross. They put it all together and put this program together. And now Coos County is just blessed with a lot of volunteers that are willing to teach these courses, but we need you at our classes.
So where do they find you?
Me?
Or this program?
Well, they can find, they could probably call me at 267-3216, and I could get them some information.
Great.
Also to call the college, the local community college. They do register for those classes.
Thank you.
Yes.
I can tell you about a group for the people like me, the doctors that wanted to volunteer and didn't know how to do it, and that's called the Medical Reserve Corps. There are groups like that throughout the country, and I'm told there's one here. So if you're a doctor, a nurse, a veterinarian, a dentist, a pharmacist, a psychologist, pretty much anybody involved in healthcare whatsoever, you should think about joining the Medical Reserve Corps. That's the group that will figure out how to help provide health care in your community in a disaster, particularly when many people may not be able to get to the hospital, or the hospital may have its hands full and you may need care for people outside the hospital. So I strongly encourage anybody involved in any aspect of healthcare to look into joining your local Medical Reserve Corps.
And I am encouraging all citizens to be involved in some parts of these projects because we're all going to need it, I think.
We're all going to need each other.
Yes.
Hi, I'm Mayor Crystal Shoji. This is HealthWorks TV, and we'll be back.
Hey homie, the camera on yet? That thing working? Man, you need to pay attention to this, man. When it's your turn to get up out of here, man, you're gonna need this stuff. Listen to me. You're gonna need some water. You never know how long it's gonna be before they find you. You're gonna need some matches, because you're probably gonna have to kill something. You may have to cook it. You're gonna need to sleep, man. It's a sleeping bag. NASA made this thing, man. It's small. Food, steal it from wherever you can. Put it in a bag, take it with you. You're gonna need a first aid kit. I don't know where you're gonna get it, but if you don't have it, you're gonna need it. You're gonna need some tools and a light. Always got a light. Where's my Zippo? We'll find that later. You're gonna need some rope because they're gonna follow you. You're gonna need a set of trap. You're gonna put this stuff down, man. Take care of yourself. Probably shouldn't take this, but the doctor says I'm gonna need my meds. Don't forget them. Could go crazy. Always need the TP. You never run out of TP, man. Take it with you. Gotta take care of the teeth. Teeth's important. Ain't got teeth, can't get no girls. And always gotta have some shelter. You may not always need the shelter, but you may need to hide the body. Don't forget it. Take it with you.
Thank you for watching HealthWorks TV today. Thank you to our guests, Dr. Sheila Sun, Jim Hosley, Glenda Hales, and Connie Bunnell. We appreciate everyone watching this today, and I'd like to invite the viewers to give information back to us The context will be on the screen. I would also like to say if you want more information, contacts for that will be on the screen. And you can also contact the producer of the show, Christy Kelty, and let us know what programs you would like to see in the future. And I think that's just about.
But wait, we have to leave you with the most important part of earthquake preparedness. When the earthquake hits, you always need to drop, cover, and hold.
Tornadoes, earthquakes, power outages, fires, floods, terrorism. Whether by human or by natural causes, disasters can strike anywhere, quickly and without warning. Hi, I'm Tanya. Did you know that about half of all Americans are unprepared for any kind of disaster? What about you? We live in unpredictable times, and we've got to be ready for any emergency or disaster situation that we may face. And that is exactly what this program will help you do.
We know that most people aren't prepared for a disaster, don't have a plan, don't have a kit, don't know what they do ahead of time. It's time for us to wake up and understand that if we think about these things ahead of time, it's so much better for our well-being should something happen.
First, prepare your home and make sure it is as safe as possible. Take action to prevent any home disasters, such as a kitchen or home fire. Remove or fix any potential hazards, like faulty wiring or improper chemical storage. Install smoke alarms, test them every month, and replace their batteries the same time every year. Have fire extinguishers on hand and know how to use them, and post emergency numbers near every phone. Most importantly, have a disaster supplies kit ready and make your family communication plans. The Red Cross has created web pages with specific steps to help you prepare for a variety of disasters and emergency situations, from power outages to terrorism alerts. The basic information on how to prepare involves 3 simple but important actions. Get a kit, make a plan, be informed. Let's focus first on how to get a kit. If you could only take one action to get ready for emergencies, this is the one to take. Having a disaster supplies kit could be a real lifesaver. A disaster supplies or emergency preparedness kit is a collection of basic items that you and your family would need during and right after a disaster. You can put your own kit together or order one from your local American Red Cross chapter or online at www.redcross.org. To build your own disaster supplies kit, place items in an easy-to-carry, portable container like a backpack, storage bin, or a cooler. Something with wheels would be good. The idea is to have everything you need in one place and in something that can be easily taken with you if needed. Your kit should include a 3-day supply of food and water, enough for each member of your family, a flashlight, extra batteries, a portable battery or hand crank powered radio, a first aid kit, cash and matches in a waterproof container, and basic kitchen utensils, including a manual can opener. Remember to also include items that you could not live without, such as medications, sanitary items, extra clothes, and toiletries. Remember to pack foods for infants, people with allergies, or special diets, as well as food for any pets. For convenience, put snack-sized items with pull-top lids. Include favorite comfort foods and resealable bags for leftovers, storage, and waste disposal. All food should require no refrigeration, preparation, or cooking. Think about adding toys, books, and games. If you need to evacuate to a shelter, these items will provide entertainment for your family. And don't forget to add copies of important documents and medical records, prescriptions, social security cards, birth certificates, deeds, and insurance policies. After a disaster, ATM and credit card machines may not be operating, so remember to stash some cash too. The best way to deal with an emergency is to make a plan ahead of time. Sit down and talk with your family to create an evacuation plan for your home, especially how you'll get out in case of a fire. You should have 2 exits. Discuss where you will meet outside your home. Discuss where you will meet outside your neighborhood if you can't return home. You also need to make plans if you are told to stay at home or to shelter in place. Staying at home could mean being on your own for additional days, even weeks, so be prepared by having more non-perishable food and water supplies. Think about how you would evacuate your workplace and get home. Think about how you will reconnect with your children and loved ones. Think about what you would need if asked to stay at home due to a public health crisis, such as the pandemic flu. Consider these questions and think about the things you and your family will need to survive a disaster, and build your plan around those needs. As part of your plan, your family can easily record important phone numbers and information for each member of the family to carry with them. Include an out-of-town contact that you all should call. Make a family communication plan that includes all of these phone numbers and directions on how to contact each other. Having an out-of-town friend or family contact may make it easier to connect with each other. Long-distance calls sometimes get through better during an emergency. This contact can let everyone else know where you are and if you are safe. A form for recording this information can be found at www.redcross.org/contact card. Another way you can let people know you are safe is to visit the American Red Cross Disaster Safe and Well website. You will be able to list yourself as safe and also search for messages from others in your contact list. During specific disasters, you may be asked to stay at home or to evacuate. Knowing the right action is crucial. Listen to emergency announcements. If local officials order an evacuation, it is important to leave and leave early to avoid traffic delays. Your local Office of Emergency Management may have designated evacuation routes. Learn these routes, and when told to evacuate, grab your emergency preparedness supplies kit and go. Take your pets with you. Your plan should also consider any special needs or steps for elderly members of your family and people with disabilities. You also must know what to do if you have to stay at home due to a winter storm, or what to do if told to shelter in place. To shelter in place, you would take refuge in a small interior room with no or few windows and seal that room. To learn more about specific procedures, visit www.redcross.org. And once you have your plans in place, you should run practice drills and fine-tune any steps or procedures.
We're going to go all the way.
Once you have a plan, it's not okay to say, okay, cross that off the list, don't go there again. Every 6 months, go back, look at the plan, make sure you understand it. Look at those items in the kit and make sure that they're still there and they're still what you need. It's not okay to rest on your laurels and say, I'm prepared, I took care of this 3 years ago.
As you can see, there are many considerations and situations to think about, so you can understand why planning matters. If you know what to do, you will have saved precious minutes and avoid confusion. And believe me, knowing what to do in the rush of a disaster will also give you peace of mind and might just save your life. Be informed. It helps to know what may happen and how you can help yourself and others. Learn what disasters or emergencies may occur where you live, work, and play, such as a hurricane, tornado, or earthquake. Think about how these incidents could affect you, your family, and community. Identify how authorities will notify you and how you will get important information before, during, and after a disaster. What are your community's response plans? Do you know the school's policy for dismissing children in an emergency or disaster? What radio station should you listen to? How can you use technology such as computers and cell phones to access information? Who should you call? How would you evacuate? Where would you find shelter? What services are in place to assist people with disabilities or who need medical or functional support?
The things that people can do to prepare for emergencies are very simple. And if we think about these things ahead of time, it's so much better for our well-being should something happen.
Disasters can happen to anyone, and if one does strike, put your plan into action. A little preparation now can save precious time and help ensure the safety and well-being of you and your loved ones. And share what you learn with others so that they can prepare ahead of time too. We all should spend a little time planning to be ready, just in case we have to be on our own for a time. I know what I need to do. How about you? And remember, the American Red Cross is there to help you get ready. So don't wait. Get a kit, make a plan, and be informed.